Ed Cora, who's the superintendent of the Santa Paula Unified School District, 5,500 approximately strong. And they had a very interesting meeting last night with the Board of Trustees, considering where they're going to go from here with COVID-19, reopening schools, getting schools ready. So we've got a lot to catch up on it. And good morning to you. And
good morning, Peggy.
July 9th. It is July 9th. My apologies.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, always a pleasure. So where is the district at this point? I know that you're getting ready as far as getting ready to reopen, or maybe even on a limited basis. I imagine there's going to take a lot of work to even get that going with getting the facilities themselves taken care of. Have you started? I imagine you've started working on that.
Peggy, as soon as we finish the virtual graduations and promotion ceremony at Isbell and the graduation ceremonies at 2 high school, we've been working nonstop on what are we going to do to get kids back in school and how can we get them back in school, all falling underneath the guidance of the Ventura County Public Health Department. So we've been working nonstop. So we had our second informational meeting with the Board of Trustees last night to share with them the proposed idea. We covered safety, we covered facilities, we covered instructional programs, what it's possibly going to look like, and then we also covered next steps, which I'm sure I'll talk to you about during the course of this meeting. But a lot of work going on, and we're doing the very best we can under the unusual circumstances that we are in.
Absolutely. What now, when you talked about as far as like your facilities, you're up to date, you feel, as far as the facilities go? I know that you said you've been working nonstop on that. So as far as that goes, everything's ready to open the doors, as it were. But now what you're going to be looking at, though, is you've got options for learning. That I know that you would put out a parent survey, and you had approximately, what, 1,300 responses on per grade level, to the extent elementary, middle school, high school. And I examined those numbers very closely, and there's a lot of commonality about how people feel they want their children to return to school. You want to go over that a little bit? I know you presented that to the board also.
Sure. As far as the first parent survey that went out was just asking parents how they felt about having their child come back to school, the safety issues, the safety concerns. And so what we found was the vast majority of parents want their children to come back under the hybrid program, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. But we also had about 30% that were interested in doing full-time online distance learning, meaning they won't come back to school, but they will work from home and they'll still have access and work with teachers, just everything online. So, and then there was a very, very, very small percentage of students or parents that were interested in an independent study package. But that you have to apply for, and that you have to be self-motivated because you're working on your own. It's like being in college.
Right. And I think that most of the 30% that you're talking about, pretty much for most of them, it is the health concern. They are worried about their children's health. And then that very small wedge, I think, were people that just kind of preferred homeschooling, as it were.
Exactly. But I think it's also important for that 30% of parents who said that they were interested in the online distance learning to really think hard. And if that's what they want, we can provide that. But we hope to stay around 30%, because if we pull 30% of the student population that will just do distance learning, that allows us then with the remaining 70-some% to break it down to 50%. An A cohort group and a B cohort group. If that group is too big, we won't be able to have 50%, because we have to keep the 6-foot distancing in every single classroom.
Right.
So the parents are going to get one more survey today. As a matter of fact, it'll be posted on their website. They'll get a phone message letting them know to go online and check the survey out. If they don't have access online, they can call in and we will help them fill out the survey. We'll fill it out for them as they give us the answers on the phone. So just a lot of work going on behind the scenes for us to get started. Let me go back very quickly when we talked about the classrooms. There's still a lot of work that has to be done to get all the classrooms ready to go. So with that being said, we're looking at a target of starting on August 12th, but everyone on August 12th, all students will start off with the distance learning program, except for grades TK, transitional kindergarten, and first. They will be working on the hybrid program coming into school. Everybody else, grades 2 through 12, we're going to start the year, August 12th, with distance learning. And we're hoping around Labor Day weekend, when we come back, then place everybody in the program that parents wanted them in.
Yes, and it's very interesting. You'd said to me earlier that the reason with the kindergartners is, I mean, I'm sure they can text like crazy and do all sorts of fun things with mom's phone and dad's phone, but they're really not savvy enough, or their attention spans are a little different, and so it's easier to really reach out to them and start working with them in person.
And if we hit our target of getting all the rooms done by then, that'll be from August 12th to Labor Day weekend, about 3 weeks. That'll give the transitional kindergarten, first grade students that opportunity to get a feel for technology and how to use the piece of device.
Boy, that's great. Now, also, you're going to be checking on the how many people perhaps need Wi-Fi, need devices. How are you going to? Is that going to be part of a survey, or are you just going to do contacts, or have people ask them to contact you?
So first of all, I'm going to say to the parents, thank you very much for your support, and thank you very much for your patience, because we sent one survey out. Today, another survey is going to go out, and the survey that goes out today, it's due Wednesday, July 15th. And then between July 15th and before we start school, there's going to be another survey, and that's the one that's going to say, does your child have a laptop? Does your child have Wi-Fi access?
Okay.
If they don't, let us know. So that one will be pretty easy, but they'll would have gone through 3 surveys, but we really need to know what they think, how they feel, and what information we can take from them that's going to help this program work the best possible.
How do you feel I think you had 1,300 responses to the first survey. Do you feel that you'll do better this time around, or how many parents do we have in the district? I know how many students we have, but
we have 3,000 some families, and so we figured we got about a third. But for this one, when we need to know what program, because there's 3 programs. Independent study, like I said earlier, that's really, they have to sign up for, they have to be accepted, you have to be independent workers, and it's almost like going to college. Second one is the online distance learning by itself, and the third one's the hybrid. So we'll be asking the parents which of the 3 they want. We really need to know from every parent for every child. So if I have a family of 5 children in school, I need to fill out that application or that survey 5 different times. It's pretty easy. It's as a matter of fact, it's a really easy survey, but I'll have to do that one for every child. So those families that don't fill one out, or we don't get one for, the child will automatically be placed in the hybrid program. But we really want one from every parent and for every child.
And with the hybrid program, that's, part distance learning, that's part on-campus learning. And I thought it was really interesting that the district has plans that if people have, let's say, somebody in high school, somebody in middle school, and a child in elementary school, they can plan for when they're doing their in-school learning, that they can all do that on the same day. So that's a real ballet of paperwork.
So let's use the example you just gave. You have a son in high school, a daughter in middle school, and a son at the elementary level. And if you choose as a parent, you want all 3 of your children in the hybrid model, which, like you said, it's 2 days on campus in class learning and 2 days at home. You need to list one that you have all 3 belong to the same family, and sometimes children have different last names. So the surveys really need to let us know that they're from the same family. And then it's the school's job to coordinate your son at the high school, your daughter at the middle school, your son at the elementary school to be either in cohort A or cohort B, because A will go to school Tuesdays and Thursdays. Cohort B will go Wednesdays, Fridays. Monday is going to be distance learning for all students every single week.
Interesting. Yes. Yeah, and I think that's a great idea too, is to have it to have it all together like that. And with distance learning, is that going to be, give me an example of what it would be like. Is a teacher going to be there, working with the students via Zoom or distancing, as it were? So it'll be like in a classroom, or how exactly? I mean, I know that, like you've said famously before, this was like building an airplane once it's already in the air. So I'm sure that they're starting to get this down pretty pat.
And know, Peggy, that we are still building the plane. It's got wings on it, it's got an engine, but we're still putting the shell on it.
Yeah.
This is really small, but this is a PowerPoint presentation that was presented to our board last night. We're going to post this online for parents. We've cut it down from 27 slides. We've cut it down so we tried making it shorter, simpler, easier to understand. But to give you the example, distance learning from 8:15 until 10 o'clock on a Monday, cohort A students will be online with a teacher. And on the same day, Monday, from 10:30 to 12:15, cohort B will be online with the teacher.
Mhm.
So, and again, if a parent selects the distance learning, the online sole method, that's all they're doing is online, then they will do that same program Monday through Friday. In other words, Monday through Friday, cohort A, if you're in cohort A, you'll be online independent study, very few,
Yes.
solely online distance learning.
Mhm.
That's all they're doing. They're working from home, but they have access to a teacher, as I mentioned, the times that were mentioned there. And the times are a little different for the middle school, high school, and elementary school on when they're on.
Mhm.
And again, if they select the hybrid blended model, then like you said, they'll be going to school 2 days a week. And then in the afternoons, if they're not in school, they'll be working online with a teacher.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Now, and I think it's great because people like to have choices. And
Absolutely.
this is something that they can really consider what's going to work best for their family and their
Absolutely.
students as well. And now we've got also, let's see, now you're going to be back with the board on these issues on July 22nd, correct?
We're we're looking. I've got to confirm because there's not a regular board meeting set, so we have to schedule
Hmm.
a special board meeting, and that will be solely to ask them to consider approving the COVID-19 mitigation plan, learning
Hmm.
plan, and so that's what we're looking to do. I've got to make sure. So I don't want to set the date of July 22nd until I set it confirm and I confirm with all of our board members. But that's the hope.
Hmm.
And then once they
That's
confirm the plan, we can send the information out and say, we're up and running August 12th, here we go. Right now, that's the plan, but the board has the final decision to approve it.
And you're under deadline too, from what the state, the county, August 5th, you have to have your plan in.
You got it.
Mhm.
August 5th, Ventura County Office of Education wants all districts to have their plans to them, and they'll work with the Ventura County Public Health Department to make sure we're following the guidelines by the
Mhm.
health department. And if we are, and the
Mhm.
boards approve it, we're good to go.
Now, I know when you do have the children, the students come to campus, that there's going to be, I know parents in the last survey said that they were concerned, their concerns were, of course, health and safety. And they felt that things that would help were like distributing masks, making sure there's hand sanitizer, having maybe hand washing stations, and just all sorts of different things. So, I'm glad our parents are so concerned. And so the district will be implementing that too for the on campus. And yet, are you going to be able to social distance per classroom? You're going to have to utilize more classrooms with less students. So that's why you're cutting them back like 50%, let's say, into those different things.
That's why, Peggy, since the graduation drive-through ceremonies, we haven't stopped. All of the things you talked
Mhm.
about, we've been trying to work out and getting plans. All students and staff will have their temperatures taken. We've ordered 70 some of those
Oh,
forehead
yes, and the
thermometers.
temperature got a bit.
We've
Yes.
done those.
Hmm.
We anticipate all students coming to school with their own mask. However, we will have washable face masks that we can give out if a student does not have one. If a student by chance forgets one day, we'll have some disposable masks. We've
Hmm.
ordered some we've ordered touchless hand sanitizers, 70 some for the district. So it's about one for every 75 students. So the bigger the school, like the high school, 1,800 kids,
Hmm.
they'll get more of those. The smaller the school, the less of those will get, but it's roughly one for every 75 students. As far as hand washing, we have sinks. A lot of our classrooms have sinks, and we're going to be going over
Okay, great.
personal hygiene with kids. Even
Oh,
though
that,
we,
yeah,
even though we think they know, we're just going to drive it home. Wash your
yes.
hands on a regular basis. Even if you have a mask on, cough into your elbow. All these things that we've been told, and even though I'm sure the parents have told their children, we're just going to reiterate it and drive those messages home on a regular basis.
Yes, that's what you have to do. And of course, as you mentioned earlier, we don't really know what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks or month or whatever. So hopefully everything's going to be able to move forward, and the kids will be able to get back to school. And I know they're very eager to get back to school.
Yes, sir. And you know what? I miss them, Peggy. I miss the students. I really do. I wish they were around. We had two students that came to our board meeting last night. It was a thrill for me to just hear them speak. So I'm excited about that. Let me go back very quickly. You talked about the social distancing. Every classroom, students will be a minimum of 6 feet apart from one another. And the other thing I think that's important for me to mention, I think all parents know this too, that we're not in this alone. This is not a Santa Paula issue.
No.
This is not a Ventura County issue. This is not a state of California issue. It's the pandemic's all over the place. So it's around the
Yeah.
entire world. So we're dealing with this. We're working with some other local districts to find out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give compliment to Ventura County Office of Education and the Superintendent Stan Mantu, because he pulls us together and we share as county superintendents what everybody's doing. So you get ideas from other districts. We're all in the same boat. We're all in this together.
And the district really deserves kudos not uh, for their graduations. Those were just, kids got such a kick out of that, and their families, and it meant so much to them. And everybody with social distance and everything, and they still managed to celebrate. And kudos to the kids. We've got the best kids in Santa Paula, and they deserve all the best.
And I can't tell you how many positive responses we received, and some of them from the parents. It was more personal. Instead of sitting up in the bleachers, jam-packed with others around them and their kid being so far away, they got to pull up individually and celebrate that moment with their child only feet away, yards away, I should say. So ton of positive comments. I've got to say the one family pulled up in a small Winnebago, and they jammed people in there, but they had one big party to celebrate the senior. It was great.
Clown car.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything I haven't asked you, Dr. Cora, or anything you'd like to add?
I just want to give kudos to Mrs. Shefferly, my assistant superintendent of curriculum instruction, and the Santa Paula Federation of Teachers union leaders, the CSEA union leaders, and some of our administrators who've been working together. We've had a reopening of schools advisory committee. And then that committee broke up into two subcommittees, a safety committee and an instructional programs committee. Ms. Shefferly's been facilitating and leading the instructional program committee, and that subcommittee is the one that's come up with the program that we have. Again, using the guidelines that we received from the state and the county, but they've worked hard to pull us together, and that's what we presented last night. So it is not ideal to not have all of our students come back together. We understand that, but again, we're in this together. Every other school district is the same boat. We're doing the best that we can to get them in school. We're giving parents an option on what they think is best for their child. And we're going to get through this year somehow and make it all work.
Great. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. And once again, I'm Peggy Kelly, and this is Good Morning Santa Paula. Please visit us on kadytv.net, and you'll get all the updates from Dr. Cora here, and we do other interviews. Dr. Cora, please come back soon, and let's see how things go, and we'll keep up with that. And we appreciate it. Be sure when you visit the website to go ahead and subscribe when you look at this video on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe so we can bring you more programming like this. So thank you so much. Once again, I'm Peggy Kelly with Dr. Ed Cora, and have a great day. Thank you.